Hello, everyone. My name is Megan Wing, and I'm a recent alumnus here at the University of Guelph. I would like to welcome you all today to the College of Arts Convocation Ceremony this afternoon. The University of Guelph is honored by our graduands, and we take great pride in this convocation. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the proceedings today. The ceremonials used for conferring degrees have evolved over a millennium, and the gowns and hoods represent that history. In general, the gowns for the baccalaureate and the magisteriate degrees are black, and the color of the hood is different for each degree program. The doctorates at the University of Guelph have a bright blue gown, and the honorary degrees are red. The University of Guelph crest that you can see on the curtains behind me, and as shown on the cover of the convocation program, also represents our specific history. The emblems in the crest show links with the royal city of Guelph through the white stallion above, the connection to liberal arts through the book, to the sciences through the Astrolabe, and our connection to abundance and agriculture through the cornucopia. The University of Guelph motto, Rerum cognoscere causis, is a quote from Virgil. It is variously translated to be either, happy is the one who is able to ascertain the reason of things, or perhaps to know the reason of things. The procession of people into the hall are also influenced by ancient tradition. The piper will herald the start of the procession of graduands, the students who are coming to graduate today. This will be followed by the arrival of the mace leading to the platform party. The mace is a symbol of authority of the university and will be carried by the beadle. In medieval universities, a beadle was chosen by the instructor to work as an assistant. Today, the beadle is the ceremonial officer of Senate. Following the beadle and mace is the chancellor and president, members of the administration and the honorees, fellows of the university, members of the board and senate, and members of faculty and staff. The degrees will be conferred in the order that you see in your program. The degrees are separated by categories representing the specific degree being awarded within the college. The name reader will present the scholars to the chancellor and president by degree category. As the name of each student is called, the beadle will place the hood over the recipient's shoulders. This moment will be videoed, and technology willing, there will be a simultaneous live cast of the event to allow family members and friends to watch from a distance. The president will greet each student at the center stage, and a photo will be taken. We understand the joy and excitement accompanying such an auspicious occasion, but we do ask that you hold your applause until after each group of graduands has crossed the stage. Trust me, there will be an opportunity for a truly thunderous applause. Once all the degrees are conferred and the cheers are all cheered, the chancellor will close the ceremony and a recessional will play. Please remain standing during the recessional until all of the platform party has processed out of the hall. Our colleagues from Alumni Affairs are hosting a social media program developed especially for convocation. Please share your photos, memories, and advice with the graduating students by joining us on social media and using the hashtag #GuelphGrad. Finally, may I be the first person to congratulate the graduands on their various successes and offer my congratulations to the family and friends who are here to support them. Welcome to the convocation at the University of Guelph.
native land. True patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
While you are standing, please consider in your heart for one moment the land on which you stand. Join me to acknowledge and thank the diverse indigenous peoples whose footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, such as the Attawandaron, Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe peoples. Now that you're pretty well all grown and nearly graduated, you'll discover that in pretty well every thorny situation, you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And you will have to make up your mind. Like the fellow who was a horrible chain smoker, and one day he happens upon an article that explains the medical effects of his addiction. He's traumatized and terrified, just beside himself. He is so scared he can hardly breathe. Right there and then, he makes the resolution and he speaks it out unequivocally. He clears his throat and he says, from now on, I will never, ever read another article about smoking again. So this fellow decided he'd be part of the problem. Charles Dickens, in his book, A Tale of Two Cities, writes, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." For some cosmic reason, these two extremes seem to come together throughout history. Whenever the world's population is vulnerable to what seems to be a clash of cultures, wanton violence, and unspeakable horrors, it gives birth to a strange bedfellow, an overwhelming sense of compassion for one another and transcendent feeling that all humankind is one. Hardly a week goes by when we open the newspapers and are shocked by incomprehensible pain and suffering. Our heart opens and we feel so deeply for our fellow man and woman. We can sit back and do nothing. So perhaps we can't sit back and do nothing. So perhaps we post on Facebook, attend a rally, or maybe even join a political group, feeling that we've done our part. Allow me to share with you two game-changing secrets. Firstly, the most powerful way to transform others is to transform yourself. Parents, educators, and mentors who are well experienced in their craft know this all too well. And now you know this too. Secret number two, never underestimate the immense power of a single act of kindness and compassion. Every seemingly random expression of love and generosity has a resounding impact and that reverberates around the world. It's not just a simple ripple effect, it's an avalanche effect, as people feel empowered and heartened when they become beneficiaries of someone's attention and care. So now you have it. You spent time in the incubator of the University of Guelph, taking in what the wonderful instructors and staff have conveyed to you. Now that you're about to graduate, it's time to pay it forward. It sounds like a trite phrase and platitude, but it's absolutely true. You and you and you and me can change the world. How? With random acts of courage, kindness, and unconditional love, noticing someone else's misfortune, and instead of just shaking your head, you lend out your hand. That hand can and will join with other hands throughout the world to make this world a better place. Thank you. You may be seated.
Good afternoon. I am delighted to officially open this 2017 University of Guelph Convocation Ceremony and welcome everyone here. President Vaccarino, members of the board, honorary fellows, faculty, staff, family and friends of the graduates, today as we celebrate the achievements of our graduating students, I'd like to offer particular welcome to our convocation speaker, Monique DeVoe, who will be introduced to you shortly. My name is Martha Billis, and I have the honor of serving as Chancellor here at the University of Guelph. And what an honor it is to be here today, back at the University of Guelph, my alma mater. I think back to when I was in your shoes, proud to be a Mac Institute grad and anxious to take on the next challenge around the corner. Problem is, we do not always know what is coming or how we're going to get there. Today, I want to instill in you a belief my Dean Margaret McCready instilled in me years ago. She was full of advice, but most often she'd say, "Remember, ladies, you are Mac girls, and Mac girls can do anything." And she was right. I stand before you today to proudly and confidently tell you that the education I received here gave me the wherewithal to go out and strive beyond what I thought that I was capable of. Since the days of its founding colleges, the University of Guelph has been a leader in practical education focused on the whole person. The university has fostered an environment that encourages its community of students to aim higher, to make things better, to be more productive, to turn preconceived notions on their head to make a difference, to improve life. My education opened up doors and offered windows on the world I could not have imagined. A half-century later, those things are still happening here at this fantastic institution. Graduates, your windows are waiting. It's your turn. Your turn to make a difference and to improve life for ourselves and for others. I know you can do it because you are, after all, a University of Guelph graduate, and you can do anything. Good luck to you all. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Franco Vaccarino, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the President and Vice Chancellor of this great university. So graduates, this is your big day. You've worked hard, you've persevered, and you've made it. Well done, well deserved. Congratulations. Think fast. Think fast. We've all heard that expression. You don't very often hear someone tell you to think slow. Think slow. Think fast. Think slow. My main message today is twofold. Think fast and think slow. As a psychologist, professor of psychology here at the university, I'm interested in cognitive science and neuroscience. And speaking as well as a parent of university-age children, I believe your minds are fundamentally different from those of your parents' generation. We see how you absorb information, how you interact with and through information technology in truly unprecedented ways. Young people today are very, very good at coping with lots of information and shifting their attention in that context. Fundamentally, your brains have adapted to a very fast-paced world. Today, we are navigating through a river of knowledge, one that's growing larger and flowing faster all the time. New ideas come at us at an unprecedented pace, new innovations, new ways to connect the dots and understand our world. We need to process more and more information in the same amount of time. We need to think faster. We might call this fast thinking reactive thinking. We need to react. Reactive thinking is kind of tactical thinking. It's what helps a driver negotiate the twists and turns of the road from a moment-to-moment basis. But there's another kind of thinking, reflective thinking, or slow thinking. Takes a more strategic view, takes a broader view. Not that I'm suggesting here that you think more slowly in the literal sense. I'm talking about a different kind of thought, a different way of thinking than tactical or reactive. In our fast-paced world, universities are increasingly important places for both kinds of thinking. Reactive thinking or fast thinking that addresses the now, and there's a lot happening in the now. But also reflective thinking that rises above the here and now to take the long-term view and consider the broader context, to consider tomorrow and the day after. As students at the University of Guelph, you have benefited during the past few years from an environment that has challenged your thinking, an environment that nurtures freedom of thought as well as expression and inquiry, an environment that promotes and supports openness to new ideas, one that invites varied perspectives on a problem or opportunity. We've tried to encourage you to exercise both reactive as well as reflective thinking. We've stressed the kind of thinking that enables you not just to provide the right answers, but importantly, to also ask the right questions. We've looked to nurture thinking that is disciplined and thinking that is interdisciplinary, that draws upon diverse experiences and multiple points of view. That kind of thinking is even more important in a world where the challenges and opportunities we face are larger and more complex than ever. Now, big problems and big opportunities need lots of minds working together on solutions. And not just like minds, but unlike minds. Unlike minds from varied backgrounds and perspectives. You know, there's a proverb that goes something like this: if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. You're about to explore and discover the next phase of your lives, including, I hope, finding ways to improve life for others around you and in the wider world. So go together, think fast, and think slow. Thank you very much.
I am pleased to invite Monique Deveau, Professor and Canada Research Chair in Ethics and Global Social Change, to give the convocation address. Monique.
Thank you, Chancellor Billis and President Vaccarino, and thank you, graduates. It's a great honor to share this day with you, your families, and your friends. Congratulations, you are about to be part of a small subgroup of Canadian society, those with arts degrees. Not quite an endangered species, but not far off. The humanities, liberal arts and sciences, and visual and performing arts combined account for just 6% of university degrees in Canada now, according to the latest census data. Now, no doubt you've been told once or twice that an arts degree is impractical, that it won't equip you with what you need to live and work in our science and tech-focused world. Maybe it's even been suggested to you once or twice that you change course before it's too late. And I'm not looking at you parents or grandparents, because I know you wouldn't say these things. I sympathize, though, believe me. My own discipline of philosophy is a favorite punching bag in this regard. It's often a go-to example to illustrate the supposed futility of the humanities. A few years back, you may have heard this, that Neil deGrasse Tyson, the renowned astrophysicist, he was interviewed on the popular podcast, the Nerdist podcast, and upon learning that the radio host had majored in philosophy, deGrasse Tyson commented, "That can really mess you up." Now that strikes me as untrue, although admittedly I am biased. But I do know this, you graduates, you have spent the last several years developing your powers of imagination, critical thought, and communication, whether through your poetry, through philosophical argumentation, historical research, study of music, or playwriting. And it's these skills, these habits of mind that you've cultivated that demand this incredible commitment to method and demands clarity of purpose or vision. It also demands a trust that your creative process will get you to the finish line. How you think matters. And it's not just that it matters to you, it matters to others. The poet Audre Lorde begins her essay, "Poetry is not a luxury," with this observation, quote, "The quality of light by which we scrutinize our lives has direct bearing upon the product which we live and upon the changes which we hope to bring about through those lives. It is within this light that we form those ideas by which we pursue our magic and make it realized," end quote. The humanities and fine arts bring beauty into the world, yes, but as Lorde's words suggest, poets and playwrights, historians and musicians, filmmakers and philosophers also bear witness to suffering and injustice. When you do this, something, however small, hopefully shifts. Some truth is uncovered, a silenced voice perhaps is heard. Think of what photographic archives and Indigenous-centered histories mean to survivors and descendants of the Indian residential school system. These artifacts and narratives and the cultural productions that flow from them also help to educate non-Indigenous Canadians and the world about this violent chapter and its present-day legacy. The philosopher Martha Nussbaum published a book a few years ago called Not for Profit: Why Democracy Needs the Humanities. And in it, she argues that the humanities and arts are crucial to cultivating the emotions and sentiments that vibrant democracies need, especially empathy and respect. As Nussbaum says, quote, "Democracy is built upon respect and concern, and these in turn are built upon the ability to see other people as human beings, not simply as objects," end quote. Storytelling, music, art, all of this helps us to enter into other worlds and to bring others' voices forward. But to truly hear and connect with these stories and lives requires something like empathy. Now, there are many, many ways to develop empathy, of course, but among these are the endeavors that you, graduates, have been engaged in: the study of history, of languages, of literature, ethical reflection, and the fine and performing arts. The political theorist Hannah Arendt wrote that a humanistic education can help to create what she called an enlarged mentality, which she thought was vital to citizenship in a diverse society. You graduates are very well positioned from your training here at Guelph to help create a world inflected by an enlarged mentality. Today, we're aware that our social and political institutions should reflect the diversity of the society we live in. Justice rightly demands this. As we work to build more inclusive universities, workplaces, parliaments, and so on, we'll find that we need to call upon our capacities for empathy, concern, and respect. We can and should cultivate our ability to imagine, however fleetingly, however imperfectly, what it's like to live other lives. The life of a Syrian migrant fleeing war, of a survivor of a residential school system, or still closer to home, this year many of us at Guelph have begun to understand what it's like for a fellow student or colleague to suffer silently from mental illness. Now, empathy alone is not enough, of course, but without empathy, we can't begin to envision, much less to build a collective commitment to creating socially just institutions. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech memorializing the scholar, thinker, and civil rights activist W.E.B. Du Bois at Carnegie Hall in 1968, a few months before King, was assassinated. And he said of Du Bois that, quote, his greatest virtue was his committed empathy with all the oppressed and his divine dissatisfaction with all forms of injustice, end quote. I write about the ethical and political challenges facing diverse liberal democracies like Canada. And I should say that without the social sciences, our knowledge about these issues would be greatly diminished. So shout out to the social sciences here. But it's really no contest. It's the voices from the humanities and the arts that have had the most impact on public dialogue about multiculturalism. And that's because they allow us to enter empathically and imaginatively into the experiences of others. Without this ability, the problems most in need of our urgent attention are too easily reduced to distant and even hypothetical scenarios. The fine arts and performing arts, prose, humanities research, all of these help us to enter into other worlds, to connect us with our own humanity and that of others. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson agrees. He is on record as saying that we should include training in empathy within our formal education system. What he may have overlooked, however, is that it's already there in the arts and humanities. So, class of 2017, be proud of your decision to study a less immediately practical subject. And as you go out into the world, remember to keep cultivating your capacities for empathy and respect. Take good care of each other. Good luck and bon courage. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Deveau, for reminding us that the humanities and the fine and performing arts can help build a more empathic and diverse society. Well, everyone, now is the time you have been waiting for. Will the graduating class please rise? Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars who have fulfilled the statutory requirements laid down by the Senate of the University of Guelph that they may be admitted to their various and several degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I hereby accept you for admission to your various and several degrees with all the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto.
Will members of the graduating class please be seated?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Donna Bruce, Dean of the College of Arts. I'm very pleased to see so many of you here to support your students, your family member receiving his or her degree today. As each group comes across the stage, I would ask you to hold off your applause until we get to the end of the group, and then I'll let you know when you can congratulate them. However, should you wish to leap in the air, scream, shout, express your pleasure in some way that they finally made it to the end, you go right ahead. That's quite all right. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Arts that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Elise Alexandra Marie Abrams Ogg with distinction. Larissa Abrams Ogg with distinction. Jamie Akiko Aitken. Andrea Isabel Elman Pastor with distinction. Annalise Catherine Belder with distinction. Gabriel Rosalind Bertrand Pickfield with distinction. Zina Erika Bivanovic with distinction. Chelsea Bond Birney. Alexandra Amelia Bisley. Okay. Rachel Victoria Black. Kendra Nicole Blackburn. Emily Jean Booth. Corinne Louise Martel Box. Tyler Duncan Burton. Trevor Clark Cameron with distinction. Morgan Kathleen Carey. Okay. Rebecca Elizabeth Casalino. Erin Rose Christofferson. Hey, good one. Calm Peter Cobb Howes. Take that up. Go. Andrea Compton with distinction. Okay, go. Rose Marie Conlon with distinction. Okay. Andrea Marion Cordasco. Jessica Ann Down Cruz. Okay. Jessie Marissa Cristobal with distinction. Rosemary K. Chila. Olivia N. Delius. Okay. Sarita De Laurentiis with distinction. Okay. Maya Desjardins with distinction. Okay. Adam David Donovan. Okay. Kale Matthew Anthony Dorr. Okay. Danielle Christina Dubovic. Okay. Rebecca Ann Dudgeon with distinction. Okay. Right. Brendan Connor Egan. Okay. Emily Sterling Ferguson. Michael Joseph Ferreira. Okay. Stephanie Christine Ferris with distinction. Okay. Vlad Floka Maxim with distinction. Peter Michael Sean Flannery with distinction. Okay. Georgia Gardner. Okay. Nancy Gervaisi. Megan Patricia Ginter with distinction. Bridget Colette Marie Grogan. Okay. Jacqueline Danielle Hispawak. Thomas Hodgkinson. Okay. Brooklyn Hull. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Carly Dina Herlock with distinction, accompanied by Pippin. Go ahead. Daniel James Huska. Okay, cool. Stephanie Ionita. Emily Louise Jackson. Katie Taylor Jenkins. Okay, go ahead. Lindsay Samantha Jenkins. Okay. Samuel Frederick Johns. Okay. Chanel B. Kennedy. Laurel Allison Kiernan. Okay. Christy Amanda Kodama with distinction. Constanza Zophie Lau with distinction. Good. Okay. Kaylin Noel Sky McInnes. Okay. Kelsey Martin with distinction. Okay. Okay. Take care. Giancarlo Martini. Okay. Emily Jane Matake. Okay. Ryan Maxwell. Okay. Kyle Ian McCaskill Newhook. Okay. Joseph McCormick. Okay. Bronwyn Victoria McCrone. Okay. Sabrina Maria McGonigal. Rachel Thelma McLean with distinction. Okay. Rachel Ann Miniguzzi with distinction. Okay. Joshua Joseph Mete. Isabella Jean Nolan. Leah Catherine O'Neill. Elena Barbara Ann Osborne with distinction. Olivia Kathleen Taylor Paré with distinction. Carlo Emmanuel Padula. Virginia Grace Persaud. Okay. Carolyn Marie Popiel with distinction. Okay. Haley Ann Reeve. Okay. Sarah Ann Reagan. Okay. Christopher Stephen Renon. Okay. Madeline Rind. Okay. Claudia Rick. Okay. Quinn Alexandra Savelda with distinction. Scarcella? Yeah, Scarcella. Okay, go ahead. Okay. Adam Ernest Scarcello. Okay. Tess Skonienki. Shannon Nicole Scott with distinction. Okay. Matthew Robert Shepard with distinction. Okay. Megan Michelle Sloan. Okay. Jessica Sarah Angeline Smith. Okay. Hillary A. Sotomayor. Okay. Connor T. Spearman. Okay. Justin Springer. Okay. Angelica Lucille Stevens with distinction. Okay, go ahead. Megan Ann Stevanato. Okay. Katie Lynn Steenstra. Okay. Michelle Thomas Motley. Okay. Kennedy Ruthann Thompson with distinction. Okay. Heather Jane Alice Thompson with distinction. Alyssa Tomlin. Melinda Lee Van Arentals. Laura Jean Vanderwall. Okay. Amanda Nicole Van Ravens. Julia Vasiliev. Okay. Weber. Okay. Colton Buchanan Wallace with distinction. Okay. Whites. Matthew Weber with distinction. Matthew Whites. Lori Wickens. Okay. Claire Iona Wilcox with distinction. Laura Elizabeth Wiseman. Let us now congratulate the recipients of the Bachelor of Arts honors degree. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Arts that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts General. Gabrielle Ajayi. Shawnee Alexandra Lynn Beggs. Okay. Pallav Darius Barucha. Okay. Savannah Faye Binder. Sean Campbell. Okay. Jeffrey John Coombs. Okay. No. Brandon William Cox. Ingrid Christina Doucette. Okay, got it. 1 second. Okay. Armin Fatima. Okay. Olivia Fonseca. Okay. Ian Gabriel. Okay. Luca Giorgio. Ryan Durval Gonçalves. Cameron William Guest. Paul Halliburton. Banjot Kang. Jennifer Quinta. Morgan Lockington. Megan J. Lubanecki. Nicholas Augusto Marsilio. Megan McClay. Taylor Beverly Merriam. Melania Naj. Alexa Katrina Pagura. Okay. Mark Baker Perrin. Hannah Flora Simpson. Marissa Elizabeth Sleep. Lauren Thompson with distinction. Okay. Stephen Darrow David Wark with distinction. Brooke Wolchuk. Johann Frederick Yunt. So let us congratulate this group from the Bachelor of Arts General and all of the students together.
Madam Chancellor, I would ask you to confer the various and several degrees on the graduates listed in the program but unable to be present at this ceremony.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I confer the various and several degrees in absentia on the graduands not present.
Well, graduates, you did it. Congratulations. So now as you cross this new threshold, let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you to the Griffin alumni family. And this is a growing family. This week, more than 3,400 new graduates are joining that family. University of Guelph alumni now number more than 125,000 grads around the world. As you can imagine, we're all very, very proud of your accomplishments here at the University of Guelph, and I really do look forward to seeing how the foundations that you've developed here as students will continue to support you in the years to come in your future. We want to celebrate your achievements and successes and do hope that you will stay in touch with your alma mater. Remember that you're always, always welcome here. Now, graduates, you've made, I'm sure, many memories here, including today's ceremony. And I'd suggest you remember this as well. You're a student for a short time, but you're a Griffin forever. Thank you very much. Congratulations. So this concludes the formal part of the convocation ceremony. The College Dean will host a reception for all graduates and their guests in Creelman Hall, right next door here. And this is really an opportunity to congratulate the graduates and mingle a little bit, and we do hope that many of you can attend. And now, the final word is from our Chancellor.
Convocation is dismissed.
Congratulations, everybody. I'd like to share how you can help us prepare the hall for the next group of families who are anxiously waiting outside. We're going to ask you to go out the doors on each side here with the students going out first and your family and friends following you so that you can spend some time, good quality time with them, taking photos, making good memories of today. And then remember that the next group of students also wants to look as good as you do, so return your gowns and your hoods to the table at the back. One more time, you did it. Woo!